Hello and welcome back to another OmniHeroes video. In this video, we're just going to have a look, no, not at Monarchs, because we've already done Monarchs. So we are going to do Ethreals and just have a look at the different types of Ethreals that are available, because they are quite a prevalent team in the meta. They were not for quite some time, but it's because they didn't have this unit here. So this is Elisha. Absolutely fantastic unit, but we'll get to her in just a bit. We'll go through the other Ethreals first, and then we'll jump into Elisha and what makes her so powerful. So bear with me. I'm going to build a team, and then we'll be right back in. Okay, so I've gone ahead and built myself a team. Let's just go ahead and equip our relics. So we'll go with Ocean's Maw, we'll go with Gourd, and we'll go with the Demon Bane Whip as well. Let's go ahead and change these up. These seem all fine, no problem. So let's first of all start with Dorabella. She's the face of OmniHeroes, or was for a very, very long time. Probably still is to this day. Even the community moderator over at on the Discord. If you're not joined the Discord, go and jump on it. Plenty of advice, loads of guides. Thank you, Azu, for all of the hard work that you do. So, Dorabella. She's also getting a new skin, I believe. Yeah, here we go. So it is a green skin. So let's go ahead and try this out and just see what the difference is. I don't think there's any color change in the skin, or at least in the damage or the attacks done, but she is getting a new skin, and this is coming out on the 20th of April, so in about 5 days time, thereabouts anyway. It's looking good, looking quite fun. So as you can see, Dorabella doing the business here in her new skin. Absolutely fantastic. And then you've also got another skin for Dorabella. This is the one that I'm going to use. I prefer this one personally, but we'll see. That other skin, by the way, is completely free. So what does Dorabella do? First things first, Dorabella summons lightning to strike down over a large area, dealing up to 375% magic damage to all enemies, and applies one stack, and applies one stack of defense reduction as well, so it helps you get more damage in. Dorabella concentrates her magic and releases energy missiles at 2 enemy units, dealing 135% magic damage, and applies one stack of defense reduction as well. So all about getting as many hits in as possible with these to apply as many stacks of defense reduction as possible. When Dorabella is deployed, she has 25% chance to start a sync attack after ally lands a crit hit, and she applies one stack of defense reduction. So when she is deployed, she has 25% chance to follow up with an attack after an ally lands a crit. So you want to be critting as much as possible, and that's going to be the main theme throughout the Ethreals. One thing I didn't show so far is what the Ethreals do. So at the start of battle, if you have 2 Ethreals, increase the crit rate of those Ethreals by 25%. And if you have 3, increase the crit rate of all allies by 25%. If you have 4 Ethreals, you also get crit damage for 20% for all allies. And if you have 5, you get 25% crit rate and 40% crit damage as well. So not bad. You're focusing on as many crits as you could possibly muster. Now, if you have 2 relics at the start of battle, they will obtain a HP bond buff, which increases damage reduction by 5%. Just means that if, say, for example, Dorabella were to take 100 damage, that would be split out 20 damage per ally that you've got on the team. If you've still got 5 allies alive, then you get the 5% damage reduction on that. So that would be minus 10 damage off that 100, and then the rest is split out. And if you go up to, wait, no, that's not how maths works. It's 5 damage off that 100 damage. And then if you have 3 relics, you would get that 10 damage or 10% damage resistance as well. The HP bond buff still sticks around. So I will finish off Dorabella here. Every 1% in crit rate, additionally increase your attack by 1%, nothing to write home about. But you do have these as well. As you can see, I've got full red runes for it because I did prioritize getting those full red runes. You do need it in the Forgotten Realms. I always forget the name. The Forgotten Realms, against the boss where you do 10 attacks, you do need Dorabella's full red in order to achieve victory there. So each time Dorabella deals damage to an enemy, target loses an additional 1% of max HP, and each time Dorabella deals damage to an enemy, the target loses an additional 1% of their max HP, up to her own attack times 10. 7.5 for half red and 5 ×5 for just the epic runes as well. So a very, very, well, staple at very early game and still proceeding into late game for me. I still use her in various different events. Now we're going to go on to Katrina. Katrina is the leader, effectively, of the Ethreals for DD units, and one that you can pick up from those certain select tickets. And she's very, very good. She is really, really strong. Has fallen off a little bit because shielding has become less important recently. Due to celestials, due to the purifications, stuff like that, shields can just be removed. But we'll go through her anyway. So Katrina summons the Empire's Dauntless Warship to fire at all enemies, dealing up to 600% physical damage. Landing a crit grants 100% chance to deal an additional 50% damage. So the more crits she does, the more damage she's going to do. Really, really strong. Now, Katrina, this is active. It deals 192% physical damage and applies 2 stacks of attack boost on herself. So the more she does this, the better off she'll be. When Katrina is deployed, the limit of defense reduction stacks is increased by 5. After dealing damage, there's a 50% chance to apply 3 stacks of defense reduction, which means that the more she attacks, the more she's going to do. Effectively, you just want her to attack as much as possible, which is why the skin is quite important. As you can see, this is the normal skin, and in this skin, she does get that +5 speed, which is really, really handy. Now, this is the final passive and the most important, and the one she is recognized for the most. After an ally lands a critical hit, Katrina applies shield effect equal to 50% of her own attack to all allies for 2 rounds, and increase Katrina's crit rate, additionally increase her attack as well. And I do have her full red runes as well, because she was one of my favourite units to use alongside Dorabella and alongside Ellie as well, funny enough. But once a crit rate of all allies exceeds 100%, every time Katrina takes action, she grants 1 stack of crit boost to all allies, so you want that crit up as much as possible. If you have her full red runes, again, she grants 1 stack of crit boost, and when Katrina is deployed, she increases the shield effect of the ally team by 50%, so playing into her own passive there. Very, very strong, proccing her own passive, making it even stronger with those full red runes. Now we will move on to Ellie. Now, Ellie is another unit which has fallen off quite drastically, even though she does a lot of work. This is what Ellie's normal skin looks like, and then this is the Christmas skin. She gets +5 speed for it. It's okay. It does the job, and it made her relevant again for a little while, but then she's unfortunately fallen off. Now, Ellie attacks all enemies, dealing up to 562% magic damage. For every debuff or control effect on the target, the damage coefficient increased by 20 up to 200%. So you can get this magic damage depending on how many debuffs are on or control effects are on the enemies, up to 700% or 762% to be specific for ultimate. Now, again, we have the same thing, terrifying 3 random enemies, dealing 202% magic damage, and for every debuff or control effect, damage goes up by 10% up to 100%, so getting this up to 302% if the enemy has a lot of debuffs on them. Remember, we're applying attack reduction, again, over and over again. Attack reduction on the enemies, so having those 3 as a pair, or those 3 as a team, Ellie, Katrina, and Dorabella, really strong. Now, last words, Ellie takes revenge against all enemies, dealing 10% magic damage to each, based on the number of debuffs or control effects, up to 200%. So it can be a finisher, kind of. If Ellie goes down, she's going to take somebody with her. That is the point. It doesn't actually do altogether too much anymore, unfortunately. Now, when Ellie attacks, every debuff or control effect on the target increases her ignore defense by 5% up to a max of 25%. So Ellie is just all about getting damage in. I do have her full runes, and I have her, I believe, half red runes. So I'll go up to there. So when Ellie's defense is increased, there is a 10% chance to gain an additional 30% of own defense for 3 rounds, and that goes up and up to a 30% chance. Again, nothing to write home about Ellie's runes specifically, which is why I think she's fallen off quite drastically. Now, Anubia, she was used to beat a lot of the celestial trials. The reason that she was used to beat a lot of this, bear with me 1 second. Sorry about that. Anubia, yeah, as I was saying, you used to use Anubia to beat the Celestial Trials quite drastically, and I'll show you exactly how we did that in just a second. But first things first, Anubia summons the Lord of the Underworld to perform Judgment, dealing 562% magic damage to all enemies. Anubia commands her Claw attack, dealing 270% magic damage to backline enemies. Again, the all enemies is great, backline enemies is okay, especially when you're going up against a boss, for example, can be very effective. Now you've got Anubia is deployed. The ally team's crit rate is increases allies' team crit rate by 10% and crit damage by 10% as well. This is a baseline increase, so it does play into the rest of the crit boosts and crit rate boosts and stuff like that. It is quite good, actually, this one. The crit rate, especially early game, when you've not got a lot of ways to increase crit rate right from the start of battle, Anubia is good to run alongside Elisha, Dorabella, to get those crits up and to get keep stacking those crits as much as possible. That 10% does play a big factor into it. Now, final one. Pretty boring. Every 1% in her crit rate, additionally increase her attack by 2%. I do have her runes as well. I'm not using them at the moment because they are on Snow White, but at the start of the round, there is a 50% chance to apply Illusion to one random enemy for 2 rounds. This is how you used to beat Celestial Trials. You no longer can do this, but before taking action, removes all of its buffs, dealing damage equal to 1% of its max HP for each buff removed. What used to happen is the bosses in Celestial Trials used to have massive amounts of buffs that got removed with this illusion effect. So you would effectively have Anubia remove the boss's buffs in Celestial Trials. They would go down to about 30% HP, and then Karnak would execute them after that. So again, really, really strong effect, but no longer. It is what it is. And then finally, Porsche. So Porsche can be very effective if you build around her, but you're not going to be building around Porsche, honestly. As you can see, dealing 813% physical damage. That is a very, very high number and does scale upwards as well with the rest of her passives, and we'll get into that in just a sec. So 288% physical damage to frontline enemies. Not super impactful, but it does get the job done sometimes. Now, Battle Roar. At the start of each round, Porsche summons a Wave Breaker. Porsche can summon up to 4 at a time. Done. There's no limit on this. This can keep going and going and going. The Wave Breaker inherits 50% of her stats and attacks a single enemy, dealing 50% physical damage. When it dies, it will self-destruct, dealing physical damage to all enemies equal to 200% of this attack. So the higher that Porsche's attack is, the better off you'll be with these Wave Breakers or the summon units that she brings along. When Porsche receives healing, the excess healing of 2% will be converted into attack. The total converted amount cannot exceed 40% of her own attack. This is very, very impactful because you can build up very quickly with Porsche. I know it's 2% up to 40%, so you do kind of have to do it 20 times in order. So you have to have 20 instances of active healing. Fortunately, with Karnak on the team, it brings it all together. It really does. Now, you've got runes. I've got mine full unique, and I've got up to epic. For each stack of debuff on the target, Porsche's attack increases her crit damage. Porsche's attacks increase her crit damage by 5% up to 90. So you do want as many debuffs on the target as possible. This also does increase, so for each debuff on the target, if you get her full red runes, Porsche's increase her crit damage by 10% up to 300%. That is a massive leap from 90 to 300. So getting the additional getting the runes for her might be very good if you are running Porsche, but again, I typically don't. It is what it is. So let's jump in and let's see this team in action and just see whether or not these non-DD units can go ahead and pass Nightmare 81. Again, they do work very well together. Unfortunately, the types are not super effective. Now, unfortunately, yeah, it looks like we've just gone straight down here. It is what it is. Now, we do get these robots that come back in, but we've got no healing on the team, and we are completely relying on Dorabella and Porsche to finish things off. And the reason for that is Porsche and Dorabella have the Monarch synergy. Having that Monarch synergy together is really, really strong. If, say, Katrina was a Monarch, or if Ellie was a Monarch, I think it'd be really, really powerful. But again, they are not, and we're losing yeah, we're losing people rapidly. So it looks like we are able to do a little bit of damage, but again, no healing. Yeah, so Porsche to do a fair chunk of damage, even through the rest of them. Again, building up over time with the additional healing, plus the Grace of Hunters, which has worked very well. Yeah, these two, probably I would say the best non-DD combination is Porsche and Dorabella on this team. And again, the reason for that is the Monarch synergy. Monarch synergy there was the only reason that we survived. Now, we aren't going up against Mystifiers this time, so it might be a little bit easier to win without losing all of our units here, and we might be able to see the rest of the units in action. But again, we'll see. With the enemy Lachesis there, she's got to remove all of our increased crit rates and all of our defense down effectively. So again, we get Porsche. She is building up, and now Ellie increasing crit rate. Katrina increasing crit rate. Anubia has already increased the crit rate for our team. So again, we're just building up, and that is the whole point of the Ethreal synergy, is to get as many crits as possible to allow you to proc all of the passives available for this team. And then, as you can see, we're not doing altogether too much damage right now, but I think once the healing kicks in, we should be good. And especially once Porsche kicks the healing in as well, she's going to start to do, yeah, absolutely massive damage. So we do get another ultimate here. Yeah, absolutely fantastic. And it looks like Porsche has secured the victory once again. That 800% damage, no joke. It is no joke, and it does a lot of work. So bear with me. I'm just going to build another team, and then we'll jump straight back in. Here we go, so we've just jumped back in, and we've got another set of units here. I have included Katrina on this team just to help us get through, but the whole point of this this team here is this is effectively the DDB team that I do like to run occasionally if my A team Ethreals are not or are already in use. So the first unit that we're going to look at is Lysandra. She is a DD unit, deviant, and is part of the Strikers synergy. Now again, there's not really many other Strikers on the Ethereals team, so she really doesn't have a proper linking partner. You do have Ellie on the team who can work alongside her, but again, it's not really where you want to be. So first things first, we are going to have a look at her attacks. Lysandra brings down Cruel Punishment, dealing 360% physical damage to a single backline enemy. Not great. Honestly, single backline enemy is redundant these days. You need to be looking at units that do damage to all units on a row or all units. That is the standard for me. If a unit is doing single target damage, then they've got to do something special. Like, for example, Pandora does single target damage, but if she gets the kill, then she'll carry on doing what she needs to do. Lysandra does not. So, dealing 216% physical damage to 3 random enemies. This is better. 3 random enemies is better than 1 single target enemy. But again, these numbers are relatively low. 360 is low, 216 is low as well. And then this is the first passive that she has. For every 1 increase in Lysandra's speed, additionally increases her crit damage by 3% and all allies' crit damage by 1%. We currently have a unit in the game, and I'll go through her in a little bit, that increases crit damage, I believe, by, or doubles crit damage. So this can play into it, but again, that's not what you're looking for. This here, it's not good enough, unfortunately. If you can get Lysandra's speed using different artifacts up, so by 50% and then plus 50 speed, this can be really, really impactful. It can be, if you have a way of increasing your speed. But again, what you're really looking for is non-seasonal ways to increase speed. And there's just no units. Besides the Bard, there's like a rare Bard unit that increases speed when he does attack. But again, it's only very temporary, and it's not great for Lysandra. She needs another partner who's going to increase speed during the battle, rather than this. What we've got at the moment, again, it's just not great. So when Lysandra is deployed, she increases all allies' magic damage resistance. Magic damage reduction by 40%. Again, it's not stackable, but it is really, really powerful, this 40% damage reduction, and it does reduce a lot of damage taken, specifically against magic damage, so like Dahlia, who else is magic damage? Dorabella, other Ethreals. Again, it can be useful, but for me, I've not prioritized Lysandra. The Lysandras that I've got have all been completely random pulls. Now, we'll jump onto Masterma. He again is... He's not great. He does pair well with Udora, relatively, both enchanters, to say the least, both ethereal units, both royals. But he does single target damage. Again, it's not where you want to be at. But he does follow up with a random, a follow-up attack to one random enemy once he hits a crit. He imbues his spear, powerful blah blah blah, dealing 135% physical damage. That is not good enough. We've seen on Porsche, even in this video, 830% damage. Masterma doing 135% single target damage it's not super effective. He does do a follow-up if he gets a crit, but it's if he gets a crit. Again, it's all based on whether or not he gets a crit. So he does 120% physical damage to a single enemy target. Again, single target, he's not going to be doing a lot of damage. Landing a crit has a 100% chance to follow up, so he does technically hit 2 targets with 2 separate attacks. But again, it's not... For me, this is not good enough. He does need to attack more units. He needs to attack either all back row, all front row, something along those lines in order for him to be super effective. Now, Masterma's crit rate increases by 20%. Every 1% in Masterma's crit rate additionally increases attack by 1%. Again, you can, if you really want to, you can build all around this, getting the crit rate up as high as possible, so he does massive amounts of damage. There's no cap on this, so Masterma's crit rate increased by 20%. So if you do want him up, getting more crits, you need to get him up to, 6 stars in order for this to work. And then to do more damage, you need to get it up to 11 stars. But again, not a unit I would say is worth investing in. When Masterma is deployed, the limit of defense reduction stacks is increased by 5. Again, we've seen in other units in this video, they do apply defense reduction. And increasing that defense reduction stack means you do more damage with your crits, more damage with your normal attacks, etc, etc. Now, I did pick up his runes, so let me just show you. I've got half and half runes for him. When Masterma lands a crit, he restores HP of all allies by 50% of the damage dealt. This can be really effective if you are running Masterma and you're not running Karnak. It just means you can run 2 Ethreals teams, and you will have a healer on both. Now, Masterma's healing is not... it's not super effective, but when he lands a crit, he restores HP of all allies by 90% of the damage dealt, and it goes up to 150% of the damage dealt. So the more crits he does, the better off you're going to be. And again, that's why I prioritize DPS runes for him. But again, I don't run him altogether too often. And finally, Elowyn is the best of... Well, not finally. We've still got Buzen. I'll go through Buzen. She is one of the most recent units to be released and actually does a very good job at what she needs to do. As you can see, doing more than Masterma is already. Buzen summons a massive Serpent Shadow, dealing 609% physical damage to backline enemies. This is a really powerful effect, and it's a really high damage number as well. Coming in just below... about 200% below Porsche's. It's the highest that we've seen. Now, Buzen wields her twin blades to unleash sword beams, dealing 245% physical damage to backline enemies. Again, that's what we've been seeing recently, is that you need to attack more than just one enemy in order to be super effective. Now, when an ally lands crit damage, Buzen increases the entire team's max HP by 50%. This is really powerful. This effect can only trigger 10 times per battle. So when an ally deals crit damage, they will increase their HP up to a max of 500%. That can be really good, especially paired alongside Porsche. Now, you do want to run probably Buzen and Udora together. If you've got a copy of Udora, up to that 8-star mark, then she'll have the enchanters unlocked, and you can use these two together. Can be very effective, but again, are you going to choose Buzen, or are you going to choose Wukong, or are you going to choose Karnak, or are you going to choose the latest unit, Amaterasu? I don't think you're choosing Buzen, but she can be really effective, especially in early game when you want to get your HP up as much as possible. So getting a good couple of copies of Buzen to lead your team through would be really effective. Now, the final the final passive for Buzen, when she lands a crit, she restores 10% HP to the entire team up to 1 time per round. So if she double crits, or she double attacks and then gets double crits, then she will restore 10% of the entire HP pool for the team. Can be very effective, but again, we already have Karnak on the team. You're not going to run Buzen over Karnak, in my opinion, anyway. And then what we'll do is we'll have a look at Elowyn. Now, Elowyn is the best of this bunch, and one that I would, before Amaterasu got released, I would run Elowyn. And I probably still would run Elowyn to this day, because I do have much more invested in her than I do in Amaterasu, but that might change over the course of the next couple of weeks. First things first, Elowyn's will blooms like a white rose, dealing 300% physical damage to a single backline enemy. This is still not good enough. Single backline enemy is not powerful enough, I don't think anyway, personally. Because the reason for that, specifically on Ethreals, is because the more units that you hit, the more chance you have of critting, or at least getting a crit on at least one of those units to proc all of the passive abilities that are going on. With Elowyn, she only has 1 chance to deal a crit, and most of the time she does deal a crit, but if she doesn't, then you're still out of luck. Whereas if you attack 3 units, say on the back row, you're going to have more of a chance to deal that crit damage, because you've got more of a chance of the crit proccing. So she does 144% physical damage to a single backline enemy, and this is the reason that most people will run Elowyn. It's when Elowyn is on the battlefield, allies have 50% chance to gain Awaken. Now, Awaken is increase attack and defense by 400%. Very, very strong. And if you have her runes, that goes up to 550%. And 1 stack of Sanctuary for 3 rounds after landing a crit. Invincible when taking damage. So this is when she's on the battlefield. After they land a crit, allies have a 50% chance to gain Awaken, which will build them up even more, gaining 400% attack and defense. This is why you run Elowyn, is because of the attack and defense increase. It's unparalleled. I've not seen anywhere else in the game attack and defense by 400% for the Awaken ability. Very, very strong. Now, when Elowyn is on the battlefield, the stats gained from the Awaken increase by 100%, so that goes up to 500%. And then if you do have her runes, I do have her half-red runes, when Elowyn is deployed, that means that this effect sticks around. Sanctuary additionally increases the target's attack by 50% for 1 round, 100% for 1 round, and then 150% for 1 round as well. Sanctuary is not Awaken. So Awaken is increased by attack and defense by 400%, plus then the 100%, that's 500%. And then Sanctuary is the invincibility, but you do have a chance to get an additional 50%, up to 150% with Elowyn on the field. So, sorry, not Elowyn on the field, but Elowyn has been deployed. So even if Elowyn goes down, that secondary passive or the rune passive will still stick around. Whereas when Elowyn dies, you don't have that chance to proc the. You do have the chance to proc the Sanctuary, but you don't have the additional increase of 100%. So you do lose effectiveness when Elowyn is deployed, or sorry, when Elowyn does die. You do lose that effectiveness. Now, as you can see, we're getting our crits in, we're doing the business, and we're still taking a fair bit of damage, but nowhere near as much damage as we did do previously. So lots of hits from Corrode here, and we have gone down quite a bit. Now, hopefully Buzen will get a crit here, and she does. We increase our HP pool, and we also gain HP back as well. We'll get Lysandra to do a crit. She heals because of the leech effect that she's got, and now she's starting to build up quite a bit. We've got Elowyn, who's going to start to do a reasonable amount of damage as well. We do get the double, and we're just looking for this Masterma hit so the rest of the team can heal up. Katrina nearly finished things off. Got the double here. That's not bad. Minotaur survives. And then Talos and Minotaur still coming back for more. We're looking for Masterma here to finish both of them off. He cannot, because his attack is so low. Again, we did get that heal though, which is quite important for Masterma to build up as well. And Katrina to do the most, of course, in this particular build. So let me go ahead and pause the video. I'll build our final Ethreals team, and then I'll go through each one of those units as well. Okay, so we are back, and this is the A team for Ethreals. Now, let's go through each one individually. First things first, going to start out with Wukong. He is a very powerful unit indeed, and it's because of his scaling. So here, Wukong deals 432% physical damage to frontline enemies. Is what it is. He's not very good against bosses, typically. Specifically in Rift Odyssey, not very good. It's why you don't use him. But he does a lot of damage in PvP, which is where he shines. Now, Wukong deals 172% physical damage to frontline enemies. Again, frontline, it is what it is. It's not very good against bosses, but it is an indicator that the unit is good for PvP over PvE. Now, his first passive, 72 transmogs. After Wukong or an ally kills an enemy, they will trigger the swap effect one time. After Wukong triggers the swap effect, the number of basic attacks hits increases by 1 up to 10 times, which means that every basic attack will do, if he hits the first time after he triggers this swap, every basic attack will do 2 instances of that damage. So say his basic attack does 100 damage. It will mean that when this procs, he will do 100 damage and then another 100 damage on top of that. Following on from that, you can get that up to 10 stacks. So if he does 100 damage on his first basic attack, it means that on his final basic attack, after this is procced 10 times, he's going to do 1,000 damage. And that's how he scales upwards, especially in seasonal content where you can build up his attack, defense, HP pools, all of that sort of stuff. It becomes very, very powerful. The next part, which was added on about 2 seasons ago, when taking damage, there's a 33% chance to negate damage. It can be a very powerful effect and can save your butt most of the time. His final bit, every 1% increase in crit rate, additionally increases attack, pretty standard. Now we have his final passive. Whenever Wukong triggers the swap effect, Wukong and the swapped ally gain 1 stack of Holy Shield, and Wukong performs a basic attack, playing into his first passive here. So it's every time he triggers the swap, he's got to trigger his passive. And when Wukong uses basic attack, there's a 50% chance to dispel 1 buff from the enemy. I believe that the way that this works is that he only dispels 1 buff. He doesn't actually dispel up to 10 buffs, which I think that's what I first thought would happen, but it doesn't anymore. Now, with regards to his runes get a bit crazy with things. I've currently only got him at epic, but if you do get him up to full red, this is where it becomes really, really strong. So after triggering the swap effect, Wukong has a 100% chance to copy the buffs of the ally he swapped positions with, which means that, say for example, if Dahlia has Holy Shield on the front row and she swaps with Wukong, Wukong will gain that Holy Shield. That's it. I say that's it. That's a really, really powerful effect and can work very well, Wukong and Dahlia together. I've seen them outlast, even at super lower levels. Somebody's outlasted a couple of my teams with that Wukong and Dahlia at the front. So it can be very, very powerful. Now we'll move on to Karnak. He is the keystone to the majority of the Ethreals, and this is primarily because of his passives, but I'll get into that in just a sec. Here we have, he deals a single target, so a random enemy unit, single target damage, does it twice, which is quite good because you get 2 chances at getting a crit. 180% physical damage, landing a crit hit grants 100% chance to apply 1 stack of crit boost on all allies. So the more crits that Karnak does, the more crits that your entire team will do. The same is true of this one. It does 4 random enemies. Landing a crit grants 100% chance to apply 1 stack of crit boost on all allies as well. So again, the more that he crits, the better off your team will be, typically, with regards to Ethreals anyway. And this also, hits 4 random enemies, does play into his rune effect, and I'll jump into that in just a sec. So when Karnak is deployed and his ally lands a crit, there is a 100% chance to heal the entire team, providing healing equal to 50% of his attack, plus 3% of the target's max HP. So he does heal, and this is at 6 stars. He does this really well at 6 stars. You don't need him any higher than 6 stars for this to proc. You do want him at 7 stars though, because when Karnak is deployed, the limit of crit boost stacks is increased by 5, which just means that we can go up to 10 crit stack boosts. every time, when Karnak's deployed, and he does that quite successfully as well every time he does get a crit. Now, with his regards to his runes, you want to go half-half with his runes. I went half-half right away with his runes. He was one of my favourite units for a very long time. He was a staple in getting me through the earlier stages of Lost City to get those juicy Oracle tokens. The reason for it is this: each time Karnak deals damage when the allied team's crit rate is higher than 200%, he executes the enemy targets with less than 30% HP, reminiscent of Hades, but Karnak was doing it first. Even though he is not a Valianter, you used to run him on Valianters alongside Udora in order to get the execute mechanic and to fit in properly. This also, you don't need anything else to proc it besides your crit rate being higher than 200%. And with Karnak on the team, your crit rate should definitely be higher than 200%. Now, if you get his half red runes, this is where it starts to get really interesting. At the start of the round, so that's every single round, Karnak has a 33% chance to apply bind to 2 random enemies for 2 rounds. So effectively, you can wipe out their entire team with just Karnak, specifically with these half red runes. And if you have full red runes, you do actually you have a 100% chance to apply bind to 2 random targets for 2 rounds. Now, something to keep in mind with this, you can bind the same target twice. So if, say, for example, you're going up against an opposing Elmer, and Karnak will bind that Elmer on round 1, he still has the chance to apply bind to Elmer, even though Elmer's already had the bind applied to him and is still bound. Karnak will reapply that bind. And the even worse thing about it being random enemies, so random targets, it can attack the same one twice, or it can target the same thing twice, same unit twice. So effectively, you could have 2 binds on Elmer, and then the following round you could get another 2 binds on Elmer, which is kind of why this passive it's okay. But if this wasn't random targets, so if it was targets without bind currently on them, then Karnak would be much, much stronger. But as it stands, I don't think he needs it. I think he does exactly what he needs to do. Yeah, he's really, really essential in these Ethereal builds. Now, what we'll do is have a look at Tsukiyomi. She's the most recent unit from the previous season. She was on the last Oath recall, and her passive is worded a bit weird, but we'll get to that in just a sec. So she deals 40% physical damage to backline enemies. Really powerful ability. This is 180% going up to 216%. You have her higher star levels. I do not at the moment, but it is what it is. And then we've got Amaterasu permanently increases the entire team's HP by 50%. That's just passive. That's a static buff and is a really strong effect, especially when you are looking to share out all of your damage between all of your teams. That 50% HP is really strong. When Amaterasu lands a crit, she applies shield, 300% of her attack to all allies. So she needs to get crit in order to activate Katrina's skill. It's kind of the polar opposite of what Katrina's doing. Every time an ally lands a crit, Katrina applies shield to all allies, but when Amaterasu gets a crit, she will apply shield to all allies as well. And this passive is worded really strangely. It is what it is. You want to get her up to 9 stars to get 100% damage dealt converted into shield, but Amaterasu permanently doubles the entire team's crit damage. 50% of her damage dealt is converted into her shield. This is incorrect. This is worded very, very badly, actually, and is very confusing for a lot of people. Amaterasu permanently doubles the entire team's crit damage. That's fine. That is absolutely spot on. And it's nothing like the Lance. So the Lance, it says, has 50% chance to deal double damage. That is not the same here. So you just double that crit damage, effectively. So if you're going to do 100 damage when you crit, effectively with Amaterasu out, you'll do 200 damage instead. Can be a way of getting through bosses, and you only need her to 7 stars to get this passive unlocked. And 50% of her damage dealt is converted into her shield. This is incorrect. This is the bit that's incorrect. 50% of the unit that gets the crit damage is dealt is converted into their shield is supposed to be. So say for example, we've got our team here. When Karnak gets a crit, he will get shield. When Elisha gets a crit, she will get the shield. When Wukong gets a crit, he will get the shielding. So that is how it works. It is based on per individual getting crits rather than the entire team getting crits when rather than an individual getting a crit and applying it to the rest of the team, it will just apply solely to this to the unit that gets the crit, and that's pretty much it for Amaterasu. I don't have her runes, but her runes are relatively effective. Again, very similar to Katrina's, in that shield received by Amaterasu is additionally enhanced by 150%. So effectively, whenever one of her passive goes off, you'll get 150% additional shielding. Again, very, very strong, but I wouldn't chase those runes. I don't think they're worth it. Now, here is a unit that you do need to chase as much as possible, and it is Elisha, available in the Oracle shop. Elisha deals up to 680% physical damage to backline enemies. Really strong, especially against bosses. Can be very, very effective. Elisha deals 273% physical damage to backline enemies. Again, to all three, so you have 3 chances to get a crit. Again, really, really strong, getting that crit damage in. Now, the Frost Empress establishes a contract, granting her allies 25% chance to apply freeze. This is the only counter, realistically, besides the tremor effect that's just been released on Bahamut. This is the only way to stop Aphrodite from doing what she does, is to freeze the Aphrodite. The same is true for enemy Udora. If there is an enemy Udora out there, you want to freeze her as much as possible. So you do have 25%, so all allies have that 25% chance to apply freeze. Freeze is a control effect that immobilizes the target. So it can be very, very strong, especially if you can get all 5 of your enemies frozen. It does last for 1 round, but it does stack. So the freeze duration can accumulate when triggered multiple times. So if Udora does swing and she hits the same person twice and she freezes the same person twice, it just means that unit will be frozen for 2 turns rather than just the 1 turn, which is really, really effective. She is properly broken, this unit, and she changed the meta completely when she was introduced. Now, when an ally lands a critical hit, all allies have their attack increased by 0.2 million and max HP increased by 50%, stacking up to 50 times. So you can get up to 500 times 5, 2,500% HP increase, and you also get up to 50. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is 1 million. Times by 10 million. Yeah, 10 million. Have their attack increased by 10 million and max HP increased by 50%. This is a really powerful ability. Really, really strong. And this is what has allowed me to push through in places where I really shouldn't be able to. Lost City, I've got further than I should be able to. Palace of Penrose, I've got further than I should be able to, with thanks to that ability alone. And you only need her at 6 stars to proc this. She is really, really strong, a really powerful unit. Now, her final passive, the contract greatly increases the chance to trigger freeze to 50%, and when an ally takes action, Elisha gains 100% attack, stacking up to 10 times. Now, you do want her runes, and the reason that you want her runes is because it increases the stack limit to 50. For 25 for her epic, 50 for her 50 for her half red, and then 100 stacks for her full red runes. So if you have her full red runes, it just means that this here goes up to stacking up to 100 times, so she gains 10,000% attack. That's why people use her a lot in boss missions. Now, this is Oath Force. This is slightly different to most of what we've seen so far. It's because she's one of the newer units to have this sort of effect in Oath Force. So in PvP and GVG modes, for every instance of the freeze effect triggered, grants an additional 5 stacks of shield to all allied deviants. Kind of the opposite to Arthur, but every 5 instances of that freeze will grant an additional 5 stacks of shield. Shield is really, really powerful in this team, and especially in the most recent Rift Odyssey. And now we get to Udora. Udora. She was a must-have unit, and I suspect she still is. I think that this unit is the greatest unit that they have made so far. I think that they haven't topped her yet. Potentially Elisha, Gaia, Arthur, that sort of era of units, or that season of units, really did come very close, and in fact enhanced Udora to bring her back into relevancy with Elisha's freeze mechanic and the attack stacking and the HP stacking. So pairing those two together Really, really strong. And let's go through exactly why she is so strong. So Udora summons her Flaming Phoenix to launch 10 attacks against random enemy targets, dealing 70% physical damage each time. This is super low. If it were not super low, you would... If it were not super low, Udora would be even more broken. Now, again, if that was like 100%, or if that was 200%, or 500%, she would be even more broken than she already is. Honestly, I think that Udora is fine at 70% physical damage each time. Again, because she does 10 attacks, you have 10 instances where you can apply freeze. You have 10 instances where you can apply that crit, or you have 10 instances to proc a crit to go off. Again, pairing alongside every single other Ethreals unit that you do have on the team. That is a really powerful ultimate ability. Now, Udora swings her blazing swords, dealing 144% physical damage to one black line enemy. It is what it is. This is garbage, but it does trigger her other passives, and I'll get into that in just a sec. Inferno Dance, when Udora deals a critical hit, there is a 50% chance to apply Healing Rupture effect on the enemy target for 1 round. Just means that if you go up against enemy Seraphina and Udora hits her with this, Seraphina will proc the heal, and then she will die, or she'll go down. She won't be able to recover from that, specifically because she's doing so much healing that it takes all of that healing off her. It's a really, really strong effect, this, and I've seen my own Seraphinas, and all of my units have died to this effect at least once. Really strong. Now, when Udora takes lethal damage, to add on to even... She doesn't need this, but she has it anyway. Because why not? Because why not? When Udora takes lethal damage, her HP is reduced to 1, and she immediately recovers 50% of her max HP. Cooldown is every 7 rounds, so if she goes down in round 3, it's not going to proc again until round 10. But the fact that it can proc multiple times per battle is just ridiculous. Being invincible, dealing 10 stacks of 70% each, applying all of that crit damage, applying Healing Rupture, she just does everything. And then we've not even got onto her runes. So as you can see, I've maxed out her runes as much as I can. All DPS runes, of course, because you want to do as much damage as possible. I've spent a lot of time investing in Udora and getting her up to this level. Now, after taking action, if the allied team's crit rate is higher than 200%, which it should be, Udora has 33% chance of casting her ultimate once. This goes up and up, so you really, really need this at red runes for it to be super effective. After taking action, the allies team crit rate is higher than 200%, Udora has a 100% chance of casting Blazing Melody once, which means that in round 1, when she does her basic attack, your crit rate should be higher than 2, so you'll get an activation of her ultimate skill. In round 2, she will ultimate, and then she will ultimate again. In round 3, she will cast her active skill, and then ultimate again. That is why those red runes are so powerful. So let's go in. We're just going to run through the rest of 84 to 86 with this team, and I'll show it off here. It is absolutely fantastic, this team. We're up to 47 minutes. It is a long one, and I've talked way too much about these teams. So as you can see, we are building up our attack. We're building up our HP with thanks to Elisha. Wukong getting his procs in. We've already started to do massive amounts of damage here. Wukong to finish off the enemies. If Sal had not missed there, or if Wukong had not missed, then the enemies would be in big trouble. And Udora here finishing things off in round 1 with her ultimate attack, which is why it's so strong. Wukong to do 40%, that's not bad. It's a good try, Wukong, but Udora again to take the biscuit. I do not expect these guys to last very long, especially because we do have a counter on here in the form of Karnak. He does remove bind as well, so in a mirror it works out very well. As you can see, we do have crits coming in fast and heavy, and every time we get a crit, we're going to build up our attack, we're going to build up our our HP, we're going to build up Wukong, and as you can see, Wukong doing a lot of the work here even before Udora kicks in. It's because of that splash axe. It is really strong, that splash axe, by the way. So let's take that out and let's pop in you. Let's go with the Undying Shield, and let's just see whether or not it can slow us down a little bit, because we do want to see more of this team. It's just the enemies just don't have enough HP to take what we need them to. Holy Shield will really help. We do get the crit here, increase attack and defense, increases healing. We do get even more. We have triggered Awaken as well, with thanks to the relics that we've got, or sorry, the artifacts that we've got. I had a question as well as to why we can see these units swapping. Flipping heck, Wukong. That is why Wukong can be really powerful. Like every basic attack that Wukong does now builds him up. So he's already up to 12,000 million. It's silly. The amount of damage that Wukong can do. Yeah, it is what it is. So hopefully we'll power through 87, 88, 89 and 90. Just seeing the immense power of this team, again, really, really strong. So we do get even more shield. So Amaterasu applying all of that shield to us. Wukong doing his basic attacks. And he does 2 of them because we did get a crit on those. So it is powering him up. And then here we go. We get Wukong to proc with Gourd. It's something that I didn't mention, but this is purely Ethreal's relic. After casting the relic, you swap. And also, not only do you swap, but you also double the number of buffs that are applied over the course of the next 3 rounds. That's why Wukong is doing so much damage here. It's just mental how much damage Wukong is actually doing. And we're only in round 1 and we finish these guys off. Again, having... yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Like, Udora to do the most there because she finished a lot of the enemies off with her ultimate damage. This is probably one of the strongest teams in the game currently. I think only Mystifiers and potentially Dooms beat these, and it's because of these stacking units like Elisha, Gaia, Arthur. Every time you do something, you get something, and that's pretty much it. It's your enabler, effectively. And Elisha is the Ethreal's enabler. You do increase that HP to astronomical levels. You also increase your attack to astronomical levels as well. And we should see Wukong finish things off here unless he gets a miss. No, enemy enemy Udora and Lily and Leah, Monarchs. So Wukong unfortunately could not finish off their entire health pool. But again, he's just powering through, and he's allowing us to power through, especially at these earlier stages. Now, Wukong is not as impressive as you might think. He does power through these earlier stages, but the problem is, at later stages, Wukong isn't getting as many of these procs as he probably should. We do trigger our Awaken here, we get our shielding, we get our crit rate increase, we get our HP up, we get our attack up. It is so powerful, this team. I absolutely love this team. It's one of my favourites. So as you can see, Wukong did not crit there, so we didn't pop off, but Udora here to basically finish things off. Yeah, that's why she is the greatest of all time. She is the Michael Jordan, I suspect, of OMNIHEROES. Weird to say, I know, but that is correct to say. She is the greatest unit of all time, which is why she's only been available on the Oath Summon banner for such a long time now. It's really the Oath Recall banner is. It is what it is. But you can pick up copies of Udora if you get your VIP level high enough. So the more money you spend on the game, the more you get. And the only way to get this skin for Udora is to have a certain VIP level, which is why I've been able to get the skin, because I get diamonds and I get oath crystals through making these videos. So the more videos that get watched and the more of the videos that get watched, the better off we'll all be. So we'll get to see much more. And here we go. So that's it. Wukong to take out even enemy Talos and to do the business. Again, he is a powerhouse at very early game, very late game. But when you get into really difficult content, Udora then takes over and becomes really strong. So we got up to 90, and it looks like the next one is Avengers. I'm going to ignore that. I'm going to do Mystifiers next. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you have a fantastic day, and yeah, good luck.